Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday This and That, where I talk about all kinds of different topics, answering some questions, maybe leading you back to some videos I already have that will be more thorough, and whatever else I want to talk about. I kind of call this a potpourri style video, or maybe a variety show. So let's get to the topics of today, starting off with this box milk right here that I bought back in 2021, or at least that's the best use by date, April of 2021. And guess what? I kind of forgot I had it because I was stocking up on it, and I did videos on this in the past, and I cycle through it just so I can have some shelf-stable milk in a liquid form rather than a dried form, because I like having all different types on hand. And this is the Gosner whole milk. We used to be able to get it for just $2 a box at our local store, and I can't remember what happened. Either the price skyrocketed or they stopped carrying it, I think is what happened. But I almost never shop down there unless I absolutely have to, for reasons. But at any rate, I remembered I had it, and I'm like, oh, I should open that up and try it and see how well it's done. And I couldn't remember when the last time was I bought it. Well, according to this, it was 2021. And so this is a 5-year-old box of milk. So I opened it. It smelled good. I poured myself a glass. Note, I am not a milk drinker. I mean, I love dairy products, but I don't like to just drink plain milk. However, I really like the taste of this, and even after sitting on the shelf for 5 years, it's still really good. And so even though I also enjoy my coffee black most of the time, I've been adding it to my coffee because it's so good. And plus, since I did open the box, I do want to work through it. So I thought I'd share that with you. And if anyone's looking for yet another way to put up milk, this is another great way. The flavor of it is very, very much like your canned evaporated milk, which, by the way, now that we have a drop point with our Azure standard, that we've had it for, gosh, I think we're going on a year now. I just recently realized they have canned organic evaporated milk, where this here is not organic, even though I'd say it's a pretty good option. It doesn't have added hormones to it, and I think a lot of people can get it at their local dollar stores, which we don't have those here. So you could get it even cheaper, but I don't know. It's probably $1.50 at the dollar store now. I have no idea. But if you do shop through Azure Standard and you're just looking through for another way to put up some dairy products, there's the organic evaporated milk in cans, as well as the organic sweetened condensed milk in cans. So I'm getting both of those. In fact, I'm picking up my order today or this evening, and I bought the sweetened condensed before and tried it just to know I've got it. It's not something I use. I don't think I've used it in many years, but I know it can be a great way to make a quick dessert, even like a no-bake cheesecake with cream cheese and sweetened condensed milk and whatever flavor you want to add to it, basically. So I haven't tried that, but I might try that in the near future. So at any rate, I wanted to share both of those with you about the canned milk. And remember, my Azure Standard link, if you like to shop through Azure Standard or you would like to try it, is always in my description box. And that's my referral link, which means if you go through that and you get $100 worth of product or more, I get a $25 credit on my account, which really does help us, and I appreciate that so much. But not everybody has a drop point. A drop point will save you money in shipping. For us, it's free. We don't pay any shipping at all, which has been great. But before we had a drop point, I was ordering online and having it delivered either UPS or USPS. You usually get a choice, and I'd pick whichever one was the lowest price in shipping. And just so you know, when I did the math at the amount of money I was saving buying my grains and other such from Azure Standard to buying it at other places that offered so-called free shipping, the price came out either the same or better going through Azure Standard. And even if it was only a few cents difference, I will continue to support them and what they stand for. I really appreciate the fact that they carry mostly organic and non-GMO products, that they vet the companies that they purchase from. There's just a lot about it that I really appreciate. So that is actually now where I get most of my groceries. I still, on a very rare occasion, will buy from Misfits Market, but it's getting less and less all the time. And sometimes order some stuff through Costco or Amazon through the Subscribe and Save program, but Azure Standard is my number one grocery source now. But with that said about the milk, there was one more thing that goes right along with this topic I wanted to bring up. It's one that I forget about because I've never bought it and I forget it's even an option. But people who are looking at putting up powdered whole milk, which can sometimes be hard to find, but more and more you're finding it. In fact, Azure Standard has an organic powdered A2A2 whole milk, which is great for people who have issues with digesting regular store-bought milk. Even for infants, it is a good one because of the A2A2. It's easily digestible. But what some people are doing to stock up on milk is they're buying the Nido or Nido. I'm not sure. I'm thinking it's probably pronounced Nido brand, Nido, that I think is put out by Nestle or Carnation, one of the two. They're going to Walmart and they're getting it there because they can get it for a lot less money than buying a good quality organic milk powder from somewhere else. Well, I just want to make sure people are informed. You do what's best for you. I understand that. I'm not trying to tell people or shame people for this, but sometimes people simply do not know and they don't bother to read the ingredients because they just assume because, well, this is for babies, it's safe, but they don't read the ingredients. Now, that company sells several different ones targeted at children, from infants to older kids to kids about 2 to 3 years old. And the ingredients on the back of each one is a little bit different, and each one has something that everyone should be avoiding, even adults, but especially children. So make sure you're reading those ingredients. I'm going to put a screenshot I took from their own website of just one. I can't remember which this one was labeled in particular, but it does have soy in it. Some of them will have maltodextrin, which there's a lot of people trying to avoid that. But this particular one I'm showing you also states right at the bottom, it has genetically modified ingredients in it. So I personally do not recommend it. Again, you got to do what's best for you and your family, but it's not something I would ever give to my grandchildren because of the ingredients. And like I said, each one is different and each one has something in it that you should be avoiding, though it could be different for each one. Like the screenshot I took, that one doesn't have maltodextrin in it, but it has things that another one that does have maltodextrin in it doesn't have. So yeah, anyway, I just want to inform people, again, make your own decision based on that. No shaming on my part. Okay, then I got a couple of questions because of a video that came out last week where I think I just kind of mentioned in passing about dehydrating cabbage and beans like chili or just cooked beans of any kind and dehydrating them up. Well, and then they were saying, do you have videos on this and where can I find them? And, and I don't mind people asking if they want links to certain videos or asking if I have videos out. I really have no problem with that. But I just want to let people know, if you hear me mention something like about how we got off our thyroid or about dehydrating cabbage and beans and such, I do have videos out on these things. And if I didn't link to it in the description box underneath the video, you can simply do a search. If you're watching YouTube on a computer, you can just use the YouTube search. There's a YouTube search bar at the top. Then there's a specific search bar that's each channel has. And all you have to do is type the topic you're looking for and it'll pull it right up to the top. If you're doing this from a smart device, they don't give you the option of that specific search bar. But in that case, you just put in the regular YouTube search bar the channel's name and the topic you're looking for, and it will pull that topic right up to the top, most of the time anyway. So if you're looking for my thyroid videos, put Rain Country Thyroid and it should pull it right up. If you're looking for the one on dehydrated cabbage, Rain Country Dehydrated Cabbage, Rain Country Dehydrated Beans. And each one of those videos I go into not just the details about how I dehydrate these things, but also the different ways that I use them. I try to cover both of that so people can also know how, okay, do I want to bother dehydrating cabbage or cooked beans, and what is the benefit of doing this? How can I use these in the future? And let me tell you, I love having that dehydrated cabbage on hand. In fact, I need to get more dried up because I realize I'm running low. So I need to, on my next Azure standard order a couple of heads of cabbage and start dehydrating up a bunch to have on hand. Because cabbage is one thing I do not grow. I probably could grow it, I just don't. And then, since I'm speaking of dehydrating, I just want to show you a couple of the things I've been putting up this past week. So I've got almost a pint jar full of yarrow from this year. My yarrow is still in the process of getting bigger and bigger. And I was able to put up a good amount yesterday. In fact, you would have seen the picture I took last week. And I'll put it right here. So that was a pretty good amount. I could have cut more, but I'm trying to also allow it to keep putting out more. I don't want to cut it back while it's still kind of in its early growth stage for the season. But I would like to put up at least 2 pints of the leaves and then allow it to flower. And then half of the flowers I'll be dehydrating and just mixing in with the leaves. You can also dehydrate them and put them in their own separate jar. And the flowers are really good for teas. Then the other half of the flowers I'll just allow to go to seed because I sell the seeds to the yarrow that I grow. And anyway, yarrow is a really good one. Though I don't remember if in the video I shot most recent one on healing salve. I don't remember if I even mentioned it because at the time I was being very, very frugal with the yarrow I had. But it is a very, very good one to use either as just itself or to mix with your comfrey, your plantain, and other healing herbs, calendula, dandelion flower, to create your healing salve. So I'll link to my healing salve video down below. And like I said, I don't remember if I mentioned yarrow or if I even used it, but again, it is a good option. Maybe there's one of the other herbs you can't grow or can't access. Yarrow would be a good replacement, or you can just use yarrow by itself. So any of your healing herbs like that, you can just use one. You can just use plantain or just comfrey or just calendula or just dandelion flowers or just yarrow. I usually like to do a blend because they're each going to have their own special little benefits, even if they're all very healing to the skin. There'll be certain benefits that might be higher in one and other benefits higher in another. So that's why I do like to combine them to make sure I'm getting the best of all of them. So then the other thing I just started putting up for this year is the Heal All, or also known as Self Heal. It is actually considered a weed, and it's coming up in a lot of places. Most of the places it's coming up around my garden where I'm going to allow it to grow. It's not very tall yet. The leaves aren't very big, but there's one place that it came up in, which is a pot that's in a protected area that I tend to grow some beans in so they can climb up next to my greenhouse. Well, because that area stays more protected from the cold, that little bunch, it's just a small bunch, had the tallest and biggest leaves on them. So I went ahead and started harvesting on there, especially since I just needed to plant my beans in there anyway, which, by the way, got all my beans planted, all my potatoes are planted. And what else? My zucchini is doing well. I'm just not putting it in the ground yet. I'm keeping it in a protected area until I know we're going to stop having these really, really cold nights. We've been having a few really hot days, but then practically freezing at night. And I've learned from experience not to put the zucchini in the ground too soon out in the open. So I've spread it out in the pots I started in into a couple of different pots and took it out of the greenhouse so it can start acclimating to some of the cooler weather, but also keeping it up against the house so that it will stay more protected when it gets really cold at night. Then hopefully soon I'll be putting it in the ground out front because that's where it likes it best. Our south facing front garden. And so much more. The koji nut squash plants are doing beautifully. Those are from seed I saved from an organic koji nut squash that I thought I would try, and I really liked it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try growing some. And man, they're growing a little bit better than my pie pumpkins are. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, so I have a video on the benefits of yarrow. I'll link to I have two of them actually, but I'll link to the most current one, and then the one I did on self-heal. Even though I've yet to use it for anything, I am still putting it up because it's something I can easily forage for and grows well here. And it is a great healing plant with a lot of benefits, which is why one of the names it's known by is Heal All. So yeah, both those videos in the description box, and I'll try to remember to also put the cabbage and the bean one in there too. All right, well, that's it for my this and that for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Any thoughts, ideas you'd like to share, any of your own experiences about anything I've talked about, be it the yarrow or the self-heal or putting up milk, please share those in comments down below so others can learn from you as well. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.